This is a behind-the-scenes look on what exactly I do to process the mountains for Platform Masters, especially in this case World 10 for Steepest Mountains. At first, what you see looks like a bunch of lines with some colors protruding out from the left and right sides, but there's actually a lot of in-depth meaning behind all this. Of course, there's these colored numbers directly above that, in like blue, red, and yellow. So, what exactly is all this? I'll explain the basics to start out. World 10, Steepest Mountains, has a landscape that you can run around on, but I need to know exactly where all the levels and whatnot are. So I plotted those, kind of giving a rough idea on where they would be. Like this is level 2, you'd be right about in here. Emerist is not related to the level. Level story, so when the story scene plays, when you finally reach the world, which you can skip the story if you want, that's no problem there. This is where it actually is based on, so that way you can get an initial good look at what the scenery is like. Because near the top of a peak, you're going to get a good view. Level 3, level 4, of course you got your usual 10 levels, no surprise there. Here's your boss level right at the peak. Then you got your first jumbo level, which is right where that Lake Ryan and Ryanara are. Then you got more jumbo levels, and then you got your supersize level. What's with this odd black rectangle here? This is actually what I'm intending on having for what the supersize level's shape is going to be, scaled to actual however the scale is on this, so you can get a sense of perspective and scale. The supersize level is really high and is situated above that. That way you can see how the stars coming out and also the Earth's curvature effect sticking out pretty well too. I might make this still a little higher, but I don't know exactly for sure. But this is the best world for that, so might as well. And of course, this is a bit of a plan change. What's with these ground decals though? Which is what that used to be and why it's repeating. This used to be 32 kiloblocks per repeat width, but now it's going to be changed to 64, so it scales with all the mountains. So that way there's a lot more variety because it scales with the terrain, which is always 64 kiloblocks for a repeat width. This is just a repeat of everything, so that way I know how it's going to be tiling properly. So this faded area here is just kind of like a boundary. So then, what's with all these lines here? I will explain that up here because that's exactly where I got all the details at. This here represents four different things is what these lines all plot. At the very basis, this is the very shortest possible mountain at the very steepest possible that I have. This side over here represents the height, and I have a scale here. Let me zoom out so you can see this better. This is the scale. You got the base elevation for the world, which is 19,028 coordinate units, which is about 2,700 feet or 900 meters. Quick mental estimates there. And then of course each one of these colors has its own color shading system here. So like for example, if the mountain's got let's say this one here is blue. That's this blue point here. The height of that mountain based on the ground, which is at 19,028, would be this much added on to it, somewhere in there. It's a little bit random, so I can have a little bit of flexibility. This side over here is the slope, which is basically your steepness. It just affects the width. Of course, shallower slope, it has to extend out farther. This right here at the very edge, let me zoom back in again. Quicker if I just use the navigate. This right here is the steepest possible, which is a 2.1 to 1 ratio, which is something like 42 degrees, 43 degrees average slope, really steep. And over here it's 2.7 to 1, which is still kind of up there, but it's like 37, 36 degrees. I'll have that mentioned in the video description, in case you're wondering on the exact figures. But that's exactly how that's set up. So basically, I also have an X position set here, and it's also got the Z position. These numbers here is the scaling, which is actually the Z position, which is different from coordinate units. If you know the back end of what Platform Masters is, you'll definitely know that. This part right here represents the 0 mark. Right here and right at this very edge here is exactly the 0 scaling. And each one of these pixels on here is actually 2 scaling units, for a sense on just how the scaling on that is for the resolution on this map. So why is this all pink here? Well, negative scaling makes no sense whatsoever. That's all behind the camera. I just filled that in so I can have some contrast. And for this point here, the lowest possible, the closest point on the ground decals that you can see at the closest is 96 scaling units. And if you look closely here, what do you know? 48 times 2 for the map resolution, that's 96 scaling units. So that's where all that comes in. And of course, converting scaling units to coordinate units, that's just multiply by 2048 and then divide by 3 if you want the exact figure. It's something like 682 and 2/3, if I remember the exact number. But that's basically what all this back end kind of stuff means. There's also a scaling grid that I use. Like each one of these here, the grid spacing is 16 that way, but this is also like a kiloblock sort of thing. Like this is 1 kiloblock, which is 32 screen widths, 32,768 pixels width. And in case you're wondering, it's 2,097,152 coordinate units for the entire width. That's like 58.25 miles. That is just nuts for how much landscape there is. The worlds are huge in Platform Masters. So, what do I do to go about making all this? And you might have also noticed that there's some odd gaps in here like this. There's actually supposed to be like a little ground decal hiding in this area that I'm intending on. And there's going to be another one right in here, which is kind of why I'm leaving those out. But the rest of it is pretty well filled, although there's that glitch in this that's been going on with Windows 10. But this one here seems to be awfully too much to the right. And X position, I can easily adjust that. That's not going to hurt anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to adjust the X position on that. Let's see. How should I do that? What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to minimize the amount of visibility on the ground. So that way, all you see is just nothing but the mountains, pretty much. Except in those dedicated areas. But I think that's a better spot for it. Or at least a better representation. So, I have my old reference here for how I had everything plotted before. But since I made some plan changes because I want to get rid of the ground because of just how well Maglev Train came out, I'm now bunching the mountains a little closer together. Which does bring about one other thing. What's with the colors on these numbers? Why are most of them blue? How come there's a couple of oddball yellows and some oddball reds all mixed in? Well, the blue means I didn't have to change the original image. I can keep the original image as is with no modifications at all. These yellow ones here are new. It's a mountain I have never had before, a scaling particular anyway. I can't have matching scaling because of the way the splitting works, otherwise files are just going to overwrite files, which is going to get me nowhere. So I just have unique scalings, and if you look really, really closely, you'll notice that they're all multiples of 16. Yeah, I like powers of 2. They're my favorite numbers. And what's with these red ones? Well, some of them ended up being way wider than the 2.7 to 1 width to height ratio. So I ended up having to make an adjustment to fix that. And even then, this one's just nuts. 1024, it's just crazy. It's a huge mountain. But if you want big, there's the one that's at 2000 that's just off the charts pretty much. It's 79 pixels tall, but pixels times scaling equals coordinate units. You know that infamous formula associated with Platform Masters. That's 158,000 coordinate units, which is even beyond this. But this mountain is so far away, it's going to be very difficult to see. But it does actually blend into goes into the sky pretty well, so you'll definitely be able to see it for sure. So, what I'm seeing here now is how to group the mountains in such a way so that they are close together where if I'm going to have the visible sight of it, am I not going to be able to see the ground? Like right here, they're pretty close, so I have this one here plugging it. But of course I had a little error from being excessively wide. And let's see, what else? It's kind of all about the same for the most part, but so, and over here at the edge I have to reference it over here on this side where it joins up over here. So yeah, this looks like it needs attention because this is too closely joined, but then I got that 1392 there. Why didn't I copy that over? So in that case, copy it, line it up exactly, then move the repeat width, which is 1536. 1536, it's got to be exactly 0. So that would be right there. So it looks like I already plugged that up. Okay, sometimes I do forget to do that, and sometimes I forget to copy from that side over to here. What's next? This area I'm still kind of shaping up to be about like so, or this definitely looks like it needs to be plugged up. So I'm going to work this one. This spot right here is where my next target is. And thus, I need to figure out what's the next scaling. I got a 1408, got a 1392 that I need to redo. That should not be overlapping like that, because otherwise I can't see it. So I just move this over here. Now I copy paste again. 1536, here I go. Okay, that's now in place. Back to where it was. I got the 1408. I think I had a 1440. Nope, I got a 1424 here. Always reuse exactly what I have. And it looks like it's a big one. So 1424. What I need to do now is copy this. And then I paste it at the same Z position. Don't exactly care where on the x-axis it goes to. And from there I need to know exactly what the parameters of that existing mountain is. That was 1424, which is this one right here. Calculator. It's a different one. And I'm sure you know, it's... Okay, what I do first is I reference the height. Pixels times scaling equals coordinate units. So I see the 139552. Check that up against the heights here. 135992. Cross check to verify. 139552. That would be, it's past that one, so it would be referencing the blue. So that means I cut it to blue. Exactly like this. And now for the slope adjust, I need a different formula, slightly different. Notice the 261. I jotted down all the widths and heights on these. And if you look closely, sometimes you might see error. That's because that one has exceeded the 2.7 to 1 ratio. And that's what all these red ones are for. So, and again, pixels times scaling. So I need 261. But I also have to adjust for the map scale. This is the width. But what I need is, that is the exact map scale that I'm using. So that means 272.2. That gets rounded. 272 is this. And I'm in the wrong layer. I'm going to get that visible so you can see it as well. Where are we? Right here. Start from the blue edge, all the way at the far edge of the blue, except I missed. 272 right there. Okay. So I cut that out, and then that's done. Now I got to set the X position. The Z's already set. Let's see, how much overlap do I want? Move you to the left. I think that's good. And this one was not modified, so it's going to be set. I just simply hand draw it like this. 1, 4, 2, 4, and that one is done. Next, I saw a 1440. Yep, right there. Doesn't have to be there. I just need to know exactly which ones I had before. Where can I fill? I can probably start filling this in a little bit. So I think that's where I'm going to put it. 1440 should be about here. Oop, down one. Okay, same process again. 1440, it's by 100 pixels times scaling equals coordinate units. 14.4. That would be in this category, so that one would be in the pink. So I mark it off as pink. Not hot pink, but just plain pink. Yeah, if it doesn't have the number on it, that's the one I know I'm working. And then from there, I gotta punch some numbers in again. 255, 255, and then I gotta offset for the map scale. So I got 269 roughly. 269 puts it there. So I cut off by the full color, and now I adjust the X position. Let's see. I think that's actually pretty good almost as it is. Move it over just a little bit. Let's see, that's a short one. Kind of gentle slope. That's how I can read these, so I know exactly what's what, so it gives me a visual sense. So this one's a new one, so it's very open as to what it can be. I think I'll move it. Trying to figure out exactly what I want, because this is where the creativity part comes in. I'll just move it a small amount to the left or right. So no change happened. Something is off here. That's probably why. 1440. I was wondering why that was lined up with that. But the automatic splitting and stuff is all, the splitting and whatnot is all done automatically. So all I got to do is just run 8 instances of my program and whatnot to get stuff running real quick. But the splitting actually goes pretty fast. So that's the 1440. That's nowhere near the edge. Let's see, I got a 1472 that I see, a 1488. This still looks pretty good. It's well covered. 1392, yeah, that can still be good. I don't need to add one. This one definitely looks like it needs attention, because this has got quite a distance here, and that's not covering too much. Let's see, it just did 1440. Yeah, this here definitely needs attention, so that's going to be the next one I do. 1472. Looks like the original is pretty big. So yeah, I'll plug that up in there. 1472. Pick a random spot, and then do all that math again. 263. 1472 times 100. 147.2. 147.2, just barely. That's almost near the maximum height of the standard ones. Only the special ones can actually go above that 147456 point. And then of course I gotta do, this one is 263, double dotted bar thing, tilted add sign. 283 and a half. Wrong one. 283 and a half. So yeah, that's just cutting that one out. Yeah, very, very wide mountain. Now the next thing is, didn't have to make any adjustments. So that was the, what was that one? 1472. Did I put it in as 1472? Yes, okay. Always check and cross-check sometimes. No special changes here. And now I just set the X position, which I definitely got to cover that up. So it's got to go left a lot more. And in this case, because it's going to overlap, I need to account for that. Maybe not quite overlap, but it's close. I think I'll set it about here. Center it on the grid line. Line you back up. 1536 this way. Okay, and since I copied that, I just got to go copy this. And next, that's 1472. Yeah, it already looks pretty crowded, don't it? I think there was a 1488. That one looks like a shorty. $14.88. Just looking around in general. $14.88. Could probably just plop it on that. I think I should start closing this one up a little bit. So I'm going to put it right in here. Of course, it's going to get shrunk down a ton. 1488 is this. 1488 times 78. 116. That would be this one here, so it's the gray. That would be there. Wow, that's definitely pretty shallow, that's for sure. And then I gotta get the other number, which is 185. Oh. Offset for the map scale, so it'll be 202. That's kind of on the boundary. How did I round? 201.6. Yep, okay. So it would include that. Mark the number on it, 1488. Okay, that one's done. Next would be 1504, which is, okay, let's see, where to fill the 1504 at. This is starting to need attention. I think I'll pop it here. But let me check other things first. That's still good. This needs more attention. So I'm going to move you over to here. I think that should be good enough. That label's for this one here, so 15. Is that a 1504? Yeah. Okay. Just always make sure. So that would be this one here. Punch in the numbers. 1504. Multiplication is commutative, so I can do it in any order. 112.8. That would be this one here, so it's black. So that's a really big shorty. And then I got the 184. And then I got a offset for the map scale again. So that's 202.7. Helps if I remember the full number. 202.7 would be that. 1504. Yep, no error on that one. So, mark the number down. Yeah, I write my zeros with a slash through it, handwriting style. And this goes over the edge, so I gotta make sure to copy that over in a familiar manner. 1536 left. Not much overlap. Wow, very little overlap. And since I copied, I gotta do this. And now, because I'm going to put 1536 here, but I got another area that I need to put attention to. So that's where I need to create new ones. That's 1504, so this one would be 1520, because this needs attention. But because it's a new one, I can do anything with it pretty much. Although 1520 is not major, let's see, I'll have it moderately short, and I'll have it kind of about average slope. So I just cut it out like that, but since it's new, I flag it as yellow. It's a little too close to the edge. 1, 5, 2, 0, and then the big 1536 that I'm going to use to finish plugging this part up at. And that's done in effectively the same manner as before. 1536 times 97, 149 basically. I see that would be the hot pink. So I cut to there. 1536 is a special one, because it's multiple of 512 basically in this case, or the 256, but that one's just already maxed. I don't know why I do that, I just tend to do that. So 254, double dotted bar thing, tilted add sign. Yeah, tipped over add sign. Because look at it, multiply sign is actually an add sign, except it's just been rotated 45 degrees. And of course the subtract sign is just where the add sign's been knocked over in the other direction, into the background. So 286 is this right here. Can't tell because it's on the boundary. Yep, that's the same size. So that would be the 1536. No errors, all normal. And since this is a special one, I mark it. File, save. Make sure you save frequently. This video was created by Ulillillia. Thank you for watching.